And before I even get to click this webpage here, there's different people who know about media. There's like different. Who's this big dude here? Keith Lee's American. We only acknowledge one Keith Lee here. I don't know who this big dude is. Probably go to this page later. This is the real him. Oh, yeah, it's not him. Yeah, I don't know who that is. He's doing pretty good for himself though. Good for him. Anyways, different forms of media that people don't realize when it comes to like quote unquote making it. So of course you have like your underground making it. You have, you know, when it comes to music, you have like your one hit wonder making it. Your you know, Instagram one hit wonder, TikTok one hit wonder. Pretty much it's like social media making it, and there's like a bigger umbrella over that people still kind of overlook. Not overlook, but they don't care for as much. So back then, years ago, you know, the news was pretty much the thing. If you weren't on the news, then it didn't matter. That's why people like at the time, you know, hold Grammys and the Oscars and all this other stuff up to a high standard at one point, because it was really the only thing that was on TV. But now, you know, you have like social media is another avenue for people to like make it. But social media is still a bubble that everybody's not necessarily on. Everybody's not on TikTok. Everybody's not on Instagram. So Keith Lee made it to a point where he was huge on TikTok. He was huge on Instagram for some of the videos from TikTok, and then they'll post them on Twitter. So if you're into social media, Keith Lee made it in that social media bubble. Like he's the guy. He made it. Everybody knows Keith Lee in that social media bubble. But when it comes to the news is an extra step up. The news is the older 50, 60, 70 plus folks, your parents, your grandparents, grandparents, like the older folks. They're not on social media. So once you make it to the news, you made it. That makes sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So with Keith Lee, man, and all the stuff that's been going on social media, it's kind of like, okay, cool, really social media noise. But when I seen this alert pop up on my phone on CNN, that's when I know he made it. That's why if you ever, CNN is the only news channel I have like my alerts to. I don't like go on a daily or look at it all the time, but like big things I pay attention to. But yeah, you CNN when it comes to culture, they post like Kanye and Kim and the Super Bowl and the NBA Finals and presidents, and when these famous actors die, like CNN is up there when they post news. So now you're posting this kid who I'm looking at his agent, man, I don't know if he's a kid, but this kid who is not none of them guys, he made it. That was my first thought when I seen it. Pretty much saying all that to say he made it. When I seen it on CNN, and as you see, New York Times, BT, Yahoo, Rolling Stones. Yeah, this dude, he made it. He made it. Everybody doesn't make the news. Is this him right here? Is his name Kevin Lee? Is his name not Keith Lee? Kid. 27. I didn't know that. I think I would have guessed. I would have guessed 27. Probably 26. And he's from Detroit. All right. Shout out to the city. MMA fighter as well. Yeah, he made it. Yeah, he made it. Let me go to the see what CNN said, and I can give my take on it. Which is not going to be. I haven't seen anybody else's take. We can watch a couple, not too long, but I don't know if my take's going to be the same as everybody else. Through that Keith Lee, more than 14.5 million followers on TikTok alone. Lee brings exposure that helped turn some businesses around with lines at the door. Blah blah blah. Welcome being Keith Lee. Lee initially agreed to be interviewed by CNN and then changed his mind, requesting that some of the establishments he visited be given an opportunity to speak instead. But on the social platform, he has another 1 million plus followers on Instagram. He shared his story. He was unable to get the service at Real Milk and Honey. Yeah, we saw. We pretty much saw all of this. I mean, I'm sure you guys seen this by now. A bomb from a negative comments, death threat. Okay, here we go. 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 Still on here. All right, now everyone appreciated Lee's feedback on Atlanta visit. However, Devin Green is part of the owner of Milk and Honey, a restaurant west of Atlanta that is known for their brunches. His restaurant is being mistaken for the real Milk and Honey, the place Lee attempted to review. So there's Milk and Honey and Real Milk and Honey. I mean, that's branding right there. I don't know why it's the same name. Green told Atlanta his business has been inundated with threats from some of these followers. Okay. So the fake Milk and Honey is getting death threats as well.
Me and my family go to, we were either A, invited by the restaurant themselves, or B, was told about the restaurant 100 plus times from locals, from people who mention me, from people who email me, DM me. 99% of the time, I never go to a random restaurant. With that being said, my opinion was asked for. So many narratives being pushed, and it's insane to me. But let's be honest, what else do you want from me? If I go to a bunch of restaurants and I have a string of good experiences, then I'm being too nice, I'm lying, the narrative's being pushed that my eye roll is fake, and I'm lying just to help people. Then on the same hand, if I go to 2 or 3 restaurants where I don't have the best experience, I'm tearing down businesses, not being mean, now I need to shut up, I need to mind my business, I need to sit down. Again, I can't win for losing. I understand everybody gonna have an opinion on the situation. You can disagree with me, you cannot like what I say. Completely understand, I'm okay with that. But when my safety and my family's safety start coming into play, that's where I draw the line at. But what can't happen is when my family or the restaurants or anybody's safety start coming into play. It's absolutely overboard. Especially when I was asked to give my opinion. Because you're telling me my opinion only matters if it's positive. Because if it's positive, you got my face plastered on the wall and you saying Keith Lee been here. But if it's negative, I need to sit down somewhere and you don't know who I am. That's crazy to me. It was so much positive that happened in Atlanta that was shunned by the negative. There was so many restaurants we was blessed enough to help. We went to an array of restaurants like we always do at every city. I'm going to be 100% transparent, 100% candid. Me and my family will postpone touring if other cities going to be like this. Every review not going to be the best. I'm going to be 100% honest. If you want me to come, please understand, I will be honest. I don't mean no harm. I don't have no malicious intent. I mean that, and when I say it, I mean it. People be like, well, you know what you're doing. You know if you give a bad review, people going to come and flood it with hate comments. What else do you want me to do? I'm telling people not to go and leave hate comments. I'm telling people not to leave negative comments. I'm telling people make their own opinions. You want me to lie and say I had a good experience, or you want me to only post the videos when I have a positive experience? And all of the videos I post is only going to be positive experience. Then the narrative is going to be pushed, and I'm only trying to be positive, and we're going to end up in the same situation. And on top of that, I think something that's getting lost in translation. When that happens, the restaurants that we are blessed enough to help won't be helped in the same manner because people won't show up in the same way because my reviews would be inauthentic. One of the reasons people show up the way they do is because they know I'm being honest and I'm giving my personal opinion and my personal perspective on the situation. But if I don't do that anymore, it won't be the 3 or 4 hour wait times, and now we won't be able to help business owners and we won't be able to give back to the community. In the grand scheme, that's what this is about. It's about giving back. It's about giving back to the community. It's about stimulating the economy. That's what it's about. All the other stuff, I'm a simple man in real life.
Okay, it's just a lot of talking. I'm trying to look at the comments. Can you get on the comments on that? I don't know. It's a lot of did 1.4 million on that. I think that while this loads, if it's gonna load, it might not load. Oh, it's candy. Yeah, quick, short. I mean, short. That's funny. That's actually the video I was looking for. Short thoughts, and we can look at other people's opinions and see what they thought about it as well. I think that everything he just did there, don't do it again. Don't do it again. I think that everything he said is valid. Everything he said is 100% correct. He has to be honest, because if he gives everybody positive opinions, people aren't going to be inclined to run to that restaurant. Vice versa. Okay. Uh, Giving everybody negative opinions is kind of like, okay, you're just being negative. You're trying to tear down black businesses. You're trying to turn on the black man. Blah blah blah. So it's a lose lose situation. So I understand where he's coming from, and I understand what he's saying. I think that unfortunately, it comes with the game. You know what I'm saying? You're in a space where you give your opinion on somebody else's baby. I built this from ground up. Whatever, I built this myself. I inherited. My mama gave it to my daddy. Gave it to me. I took loans out for this. I did this myself. And you're coming around and you're giving me a negative review. You're coming around and I had nothing to do with it, but my employee messed up, and now you're talking about my restaurant and my business in general because my employee messed up. It comes with the game. Like I can't, you can't get mad at somebody else expressing their frustration about what you're doing. It, I mean, it's their thing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna have an opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, and that's the game that you signed up for. It's like radio hosts. Like if you do podcasts, like if you do radio, I mean, it all comes with the game. Like you can't get mad that you give your opinion for a living and get mad at someone who doesn't agree with your opinion. Like I'm not gonna keep apologizing and explaining myself because you don't get what I'm doing. Like it's people gonna get it, gonna get it. That's why I wanted to see the comments to see if people were riding with you and agreeing with you, because I've seen a couple of these videos where you're trying to explain yourself. Like you're Keith Lee. I think they say, bro, you got 14 million followers. I'm not explaining myself to nobody. Like you're number one in that space when it comes to reviews and restaurants. Like me and you, we do the same thing, but you're number one. I'm whatever, ranked 100, 200, 500, 1,000. I'm way down the list. You're number one in this space. And you're a 27-year-old black kid doing it. Who said 20, 27, 26? 27-year-old black kid doing this like it's unheard of. You have, growing up, you see like Gordon Ramsay doing it. You see Guy Fieri doing this. A couple other older guys, white guys who are doing it. Like you're black doing this, and you're young, and you're in that TikTok space. So you're just in a new space in general doing this, and you're number one. It's gonna be pushback. So I'm not explaining myself to nobody else. If I'm him, he tripping. Like you don't like what I gotta say, then don't. Oh, it's a whole nother. I'm not watching that. Yeah, so this is a bunch of. I understand what he's saying, man. It's a bunch of crying, though. I don't want to hear that, man. Other action on his own. He's handling everything with class. Like that shine. Protect Keith Lee. Lana just mad. Lana needed this experience. Y'all stressing him out. Clearly, ATL is the problem. He didn't drag expand. I'll walk away. I'll walk with everything for a lie. Lana, you okay? Don't postpone food tour because ATL. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, that's why. Didn't I just mention that? I feel like, yeah, people, your supporters and your riders, they're going to ride for you regardless. I don't know why they keep popping up. People going to ride for you regardless, man. I'm not going to keep explaining myself to all these people. I can tell you that right now. Hold on. I'm about to pause and come back. Okay. So we can see what everybody else been saying, because again, you gotta I'm trying to think anybody's talking about it or something like that. Hmm. 0 out of 10. I ain't trying to watch all these. Let's see who gets to the point.
So, food critic influencer Keith Lee was on a trip through Atlanta this past week, and it's almost like that meme you've seen where like the Grim Reaper's going door to door, taking folks out, except the doors are like Atlanta restaurants. Even though he liked a lot of the places he ate at here, that's pretty much the story coming out of his tour in Atlanta, and I have some thoughts. For those who don't know, Keith Lee is an influencer who has for some years now been completely be positive a few times on his Atlanta trip. He hasn't been too happy with the experience he's had in some of Atlanta's most notable black-owned restaurants. Cordial towards these businesses, but I do feel like his experience and the response to what he went through is not really getting the full picture. Lee is a food critic, not a culture critic, and he came to Atlanta to judge food and ended up having to make a bit of evaluation on Atlanta's culture without having had a real opportunity to understand it at a deeper level. And without that cultural analysis, a lot of people, especially folks outside of Atlanta, are coming to the wrong conclusion about what the problem really is. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. But first, a little bit of history. Atlanta has taken to calling itself
I know where he's about to go. I know what he's saying already, and I know he's about to go with it. No excuse though. No excuse.
A reference to the fictional African nation of Wakanda from Black Panther, where in this fantasy world, black people live much better and have significant wealth. I get what's being alluded to with this nickname, which Atlanta has had a black mayor for over 50 years now. To be clear, is most other major cities. Atlanta has the unique feature of other black folks in the city. Further, because Atlanta is much smaller than those large social media dominance and music manifested today in what's often referred to as New Atlanta. But this is also where things get a little funny because New Atlantans are a little funny acting. And I say that as a New Atlanta person. I was not born and raised here. In fact, the majority of the people that I interact with, my friends, little bit of classism and a lot of celebrity culture worship that happens here. These black folks that came here with their money and their expertise and their education and their good jobs, they want restaurants owned by celebrities and high-end eateries that reflect the status for which they've attained. They don't want to just go to normal eateries or holes in the walls or high-end white spaces. They want their own. For example, as I said earlier, I'm originally from Chicago, and in Atlanta.
I see what he's saying though. Yeah, I mean, I see where he's going with it and what he's saying. Customer service. Yeah. This is customer service. Yeah. That's what I was about to say right here. Yeah, I mean, I already knew what he was about to say, and the comments kind of just, justify where he was going. No excuse at all. Food critic, culture critic, it doesn't matter. Like, it's the whole experience as a whole. If I can't even get into the restaurant, I mean, that's kind of where it stops. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to McDonald's to, try the new Big Mac, yeah, that's my job to try a new Big Mac. But if I can't even get in because when I pull up, it's bad customer service, bad wait times, bad this, bad that, and it gets to a point where I end up just leaving altogether. And I make a video saying, hey, I try to try this Big Mac, but these were the issues that prevented me from trying it. You can't get mad at him for that. It's kind of like I tried, like I was here to try it, but so no excuse. I think a lot of people, not this guy in particular, but I think a lot of people, black people, unfortunately, and people who live in Atlanta, kind of just got used to how it is. You're used to long wait lines. You're used to bad service, if it is bad service. But yeah, man, no excuse, man. No excuse, bro. Culture critic, food critic, like he said, man, he's just a person trying to eat and tell y'all his experience. So if he's saying I'm here to tell you my experience, your experience is the full thing. It's for the food, it's for the customer service, wait times, how it looks, the aesthetic, uniqueness, blah blah blah. I'm telling you my experience. That's why I'm here. And unfortunately, a lot of people got hit in the crossfire. And like you said, man, he probably doesn't understand that Atlanta culture is based off of the celebrity athletes. I mean, same thing. You know, athletes, musicians, and big chefs. You know, opening these restaurants. That's pretty much why they're popular. Not really, not saying they're not popular for their food, but they're more popular because of the person who's running the restaurant or whose name's on the restaurant, who just fronted the money for the restaurant. So, oh damn. So I don't think it's whether he understands that or not. I don't care, and I don't think it really matters for real. If you can't even get in the spot. What Chris Brown say? How you hate outside the club? You can't even get in.